Hey guys, another week, another video. Welcome back to Zapped. My name is Roland, and this week we are talking non-Teslas, specifically the Audi range. So last week I actually had the opportunity to go to a Audi e-tron drive day hosted by Audi Pennant Hills. So thanks to Audi Pennant Hills for the invite. What you're about to see essentially is three cars in total. We test drove the e-tron, the e-tron GT and the RS e-tron GT. So the first section of this video is essentially just going to be some raw footage in terms of noise within the car. There'll be a little bit of an acceleration video for you to see, and just recap of my experience of the day. As we get towards the end of the video, what I've got there planned out is a quick walk around of the vehicles, including just the inside, so you guys can see what it's all about. I've then given my verdict, and there's a quick section on all the specifications of the vehicles, also in comparison to our Model Y performance, along with just my final thoughts. So without further ado, let's jump over to the video. We're in the e-tron GT, and this is what the menu looks like just before we get going. Here's some raw audio footage straight out of my iPhone in the e-tron GT. First pit stop, Mooney, so far averaging 20.1 kilowatt hour. Here's the lineup: the RS e-tron GT, the e-tron GT, and the e-tron.
E-tron there actually has, with the electrical system, doesn't have as much room as, say, for example, these GTs do. It allows you to have some extra storage space. Now, one of the sort of nicer things about this is, in terms of the performance and stuff, it has the ability to to give some more room, but it still has a lovely little V8 under the bonnet, right? That's just a V8 of juice. I set myself up for that one. It's all good. Well played. But
does that come with a car?
Yes. Oh. So this is one of the difference between the electric cars, right? Is that you've got,
Back in the e-tron GT, now this is the reverse camera and 360 camera mode. You can just use your finger to move it around to see what is around your car. Here's the e-tron GT's fridge sticker and some more footage, but this time as me being the passenger in the e-tron GT. And here's some of the sounds that you can hear with the windows down and a quick acceleration pull. Here's another acceleration pull in the e-tron GT, except this time with the windows up. RS e-tron GT. Now we're a passenger.
A few moments later.
You ready?
Yeah.
You can full gear it all on the back, eh?
So here's what the key looks like in the top spec RS e-tron GT. A couple of buttons at the front and the RS logo at the back. And here is the e-tron in the flesh on the highway. No in-car footage, but on the outside it looks pretty good. So here is the RS e-tron GT. Massive brakes. Looks like carbon fiber. And really nice distinct RS logos on the seats, bucket seats, nice side bolsters as well. Oh. Alright, let's close the door. Very snug in here. So Alcantara, carbon all around, as you can see. Alright. That's your rear vision right there. Let's hit the start button. That's how the dash looks like. So you can see heated controls, AC controls, whatnot, ventilated seats, touchscreen dash, a couple of buttons, 2 cup holders, a pretty small glove box, but good enough to store what you need. Alright, glove box there. Let's have a look at the back. So in terms of seating, that's about the rear space that you'll get. 3 seat belts at the back. Let's get in. Alright, so here's the leg space that you've got. There you are. Comfortable enough. Beautiful bucket seats. Here's a quick pan around the back. Beautiful seats. Although the middle bit does seem like it might be a bit tight, but at least you can still fit a 5th person or a child. Let's check out the boot. Deep enough over there. Looks like you can push the seats down. Side storage compartment. And you'll notice just on the side, how nice does that look, that wide air vent section there. And it's got some really nice lines over here, as you can see, that flare on the back. Comparing to that RS e-tron GT, you've got this one here.
Yeah, taking this thing as well. Police would be like, let's do it. That's what I'll say. It looks good, bud.
So comparing to the RS e-tron GT, this one has smaller brakes on the outside. When you look on the inside, it's got the nice usual finish you see in Audi, except this one doesn't have carbon, and compared to the other model, there is no RS logo on the steering wheel and on the seats. Other than that, inside looks pretty much the same. And then the e-tron. Here's a pan around the interior. Alright, so here's what the interior looks like. So this 2 screens over here. Really big glove box compartment. And looks like a wireless phone charger there. 2 USB-C cables, more storage, and glove box. Here's interior, very, very spacious. And here's the boot, little boot tray. Odd shaped spare wheel. Okay, so let's look at the comparison. So over here we've got the e-tron 55 Quattro, e-tron GT and the RS e-tron GT. Now, from what I could research in terms of boost mode, essentially means, well, what I think it is the EV equivalent of doing a launch control. So put your left foot on the brake, plant your right foot down, and then let go of the brakes and off you go. So I guess for comparison's sake, if we're trying to talk through the comparison of achieving the best 0 to 100 times, let's refer to the boost mode specs in the Audi variants. So you're talking about 300 kilowatts of power, 664 Newton meters of torque. It's quite heavy, just under 2.6 tons. And whilst you've got the 5.7 in boost mode, it's essentially talking about the slowest vehicle here in the group with the biggest weight. And RRP, so recommended retail price in New South Wales, Australia, as a personal purchase is just over $172,000. Now, just a quick context for everyone in terms of the prices that we've all got listed here on the right hand side. These are all base models in terms of the specification with no added options, and this is the recommended retail price when new. So this is a straight comparison. If, as an example, if you are purchasing from the dealer and there is any, I guess, discounts potentially, then they obviously aren't factored in along with any options. So jumping down to the e-tron GT, you can see just under 400 kilowatts in boost mode, very healthy 630 Newton meters of torque at 4.1 seconds with a sprint to 100, and it's just shy of $200,000. And then finally you've got the e-tron GT with 475 kilowatts, 830 Newton meters of torque, and 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds. Just around $267,000. That is a lot of money. And then for final comparison's sake, you've got the Model Y Performance, 3.7 seconds 0 to 100. Now, just a disclaimer, if you have seen on the Tesla website, there is an asterisk there. 0 to 100 really is minus 1 foot rollout. So including the rollout, you're probably getting close to the e-tron GT times or thereabouts. So that's probably the equivalent. Now, at the end of the day, it's about $105,000 compared to $196,000. You're not technically comparing apples with apples because they are totally different cars. And obviously they also have a different target market. If you're comparing on just purely 0 to 100 times, just out based on the value for money, then yes, of course, the Tesla is an absolute much better buy. But look, as I said, at the end of the day, they are different cars. They look totally different. They drive totally different as well. So that's your comparison, as you can see there, based on the specs. Now let's just jump into the more detailed specs so you can actually see what those dollar figures consist of. So you've got the base price here for the e-tron Sportback at $141,000 or thereabouts, all the way down to the drive-away price of the one mentioned, which is $172,000. So all of this amount here in New South Wales essentially covers off as tax. So you can see LCT or luxury car tax is a big percentage of that amount. As we jump through to the e-tron GT, again you can see the federal government luxury car tax is another big component here. So the car itself, $158,000, but once you add all the taxes, you're talking about just shy of $200,000. And then you've also got the RS e-tron GT, which is about $40,000 of luxury car tax, and including all the other taxes comes down to $267,000. So that wraps up the comparison. Now let's jump into the spec sheets of each of the vehicles. So I guess this is kind of where things look a bit more different between Audi and Tesla, and I'm sure we'll get around to some of the other manufacturers in the future. When you scroll down to here on the e-tron, you can actually see there are 4 variants of them. And for the most part, when you look at this first page out of multiple pages, a lot of it is all the same. If you look at the features and safety, the key differences in this section, it probably comes in this first section here around the battery. So all of these are quattro drive lines, which means all-wheel drive. You've got the different power levels that are associated to the trim spec. Jumping down to over here, these square boxes are probably where the options start. So you've got all of the packages here, which essentially indicate all the things that you get. So you do have a lot more customization. The one that probably stands out for me, I guess as a car enthusiast and as a new EV owner, is that there's an option here to add a 22 kilowatt charger package. So adding on a second onboard charger to allow you to charge AC up to 22 kilowatts. Now, obviously, it's open for discussion and not everyone's situation is the same. So not everyone will ever potentially need the 22 kilowatts, but I guess it's handy to have around and future proofing if it is a vehicle that you're going to keep. Scrolling through, you can see essentially where you've got those square boxes, you've still got additional options. So this highlights the key differences, I guess, with the hyphen here as not available options, and then the black dot as what you get as standard. So that really gives you an idea of when you choose a certain spec, what are you going to get. And quite a few nice colors that you can see over here. And again, more options, lots and lots of options as we scroll through to pages 5 and 6. And then the last one here, mostly looks the same for all of them, with exception to this one here. So it looks like in the top spec e-tron S and S Sportback, you'll get these ones as standard for the Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system. Then jumping over to the e-tron GT. So that's this one over here, which includes the RS e-tron GT. So first page, I'll just leave it on here for a moment, but essentially all the same in terms of the e-tron features and safety. And you can see here it's a 800 volt lithium battery capacity, 93 kilowatt hour sized battery. Here is where you've got quite a lot of packages to customize what you'd like to have on your car, sorry. And again, you've got the 22 kilowatt charger package as well for anyone who wants to future-proof or to get that fast speed if a lot of traveling is what you do. Following through, again, similar to the other ones, you've got a lot less colors, but then you've got more distinct colors here on the right-hand side, whereas in the e-tron it seems to be more of a blue type hue that you can get in terms of different colors. So you've also got red and green that you can choose in the e-tron GT and the RS e-tron GT. Then you've got, of course, just a couple of additional options over here on the right that you can see. And as we scroll through, there actually isn't as many options as you can see for the e-tron GT and the RS e-tron GT. A lot of it really comes down to the full packages and what you get up here, these ones here. Okay, so what's the overall verdict? So you guys have seen some of the videos inside the car, outside the car, and walk around. Fortunately, I didn't grab any in-footage content of the e-tron itself, as that was the final video where I was driving back. But overall, what I think? Look, I think Audi have done an amazing job in terms of bridging and doing the shift from your ICE vehicles through to electric. I guess the one call out after driving my Model Y for about a month or so is that the regen brake is absolutely different. So the way that Audi have designed it, you still essentially use two pedals for the most part. It still does slow down as you come towards the lights, but the Tesla ones just hit a lot harder in terms of coming to a full stop with the regen brakes. So it still feels like you're driving a normal car. And then obviously on the top end on the e-tron GT models, when you plant your foot, like it's a absolute different kettle of fish. Now I know based on dollar figures and comparisons, it is really up there and twice the price, if not more, 2.5 times the price, depending on which variant you're comparing to. And the prices that I've listed there are actually without any options. So totally different car at the end of the day. Now, the thing I thoroughly enjoyed most, that I feel Audi's done really well, and I guess this is down to personal opinion, right? I thoroughly enjoyed the sound of it. So whilst people say electric cars are quiet, absolutely. Now in the Model Y Performance, and I recall when I test drove the Model 3 Performance, under heavy acceleration when you're planting your foot, it absolutely did have this sort of a soft whining noise. And if you've test driven one, you'll know what I mean. With the RS e-tron GT and also the e-tron GT, that noise is, I guess, a lot more audible and it's a lot more noticeable. So I guess, you've got 5 senses as a part of being a person, and the noise in that aspect does actually bring more of that ICE component coming back in, especially me coming from a background with modified cars. So that noise really sounds more like, the whine is obviously a bit louder. I guess if you had to compare it to an ICE car, probably more closer towards, I guess, getting towards that supercharger kind of noise. So in terms of, I guess, the power delivery, the e-tron GT was fast, and I'd say that's probably more comparable to the Model Y Performance. Now, just remember in the spec times there, whilst the Model Y Performance looks faster, on the official Tesla website, that there is an asterisk next to the 3.7, and it's actually -1 foot rollout, so it technically does probably match towards the time of the e-tron GT. The RS e-tron GT is probably at another level. I mean, it definitely is actually. The acceleration on that thing was brutal. It's definitely the fastest car that I've been in from memory, and that torque delivery. Yeah, I was very shocked. Put it this way, I had my gimbal in the cup holder, and as soon as I planted my foot on, it actually flew out of the cup holder. So that's to show how hard the acceleration hits. So yeah. Okay, and that brings the video to a wrap. A big thank you again to Audi Pennant Hills for the opportunity to test drive and experience your e-tron and e-tron GT variants. If you did have any questions specifically about the cars, I'll leave the dealership contact details down below in the description section. This was the first official non-Tesla video I've got on my channel, so I'll look at posting some more of these type of contents as we attend more events in the future so that you guys can experience everything that I do. Also, a big thank you and shout out to any of our recent subscribers or all of our current subscribers. Whilst the channel is only about 2 months new, I think we've hit just about 210 subscribers. So I appreciate you all, and I thank you all for joining me on my journey. If this video did help you, give it a like, subscribe, thumbs up, you know, all of that good stuff. So it helps me grow my channel. I really would appreciate it if you can do that. And the last thing is, if you have driven one of these before, let me know, what do you think of it? I'd love to know what you think of it in the comments below. If you've got one on order, if you didn't like it, any feedback at all, I'm totally open to the discussions. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.